Did you know that Kylian Mbappe has a footballing brother? I may be slow to the party, but I didn't. Ethan Mbappe is 17 years old and plays for the PSG Academy. He recently made his first team debut for the Paris club in December 2023, coming on as a substitute in a 3-1 league win over Metz. Ethan is a technical, left-footed central midfielder, which makes him a completely different player to Kylian. But could he be a superstar like his older brother? We're about to find out what Football Manager thinks. So this is Ethan Mbappe. He is 16 years old in the game, basically because he has a birthday coming up in December. So in real life, he's actually 17. He is actually out of contract in the summer coming up. So I'm not sure what's going to happen now. I'm assuming PSG will just give him a new contract, but we can't be sure at this point. He's currently worth between 10 and 30 million pounds, which is probably fair enough for a young kind of 16-year-old talent. And he has all the makings to be a top-class central midfielder. If we just spend a little bit of time looking at his attributes, you can see that he's got some real potential here. Some 15s for his first touch, long shots, which is going to be quite good for him there. His tackling's good, his work rate's good, his decisions are good. And he's already got 16 for his technique. So for a 16-year-old, he looks quite impressive. And he's got loads of room to improve, which is exactly what we want from him. So I'm going to talk you through what I've done with Ethan. He has a current ability of 112 out of 200. So to put that into a little bit of perspective, 112, you're kind of talking like lower end championship teams. So if you put him into like the Rotherham team, no disrespect of course to Rotherham, QPR, maybe even like a Watford, he's going to be okay. He's going to fit in. Not going to be spectacular, but he'll fit in well at those kinds of clubs. He's not really a top championship player yet. He's not a Premier League player, but we are hoping that he will develop into one of those in the future. And as you can see, I've set his potential ability to be 197 out of 200. And the reason I've chosen to do that is because Kylian Mbappe has a potential ability of 197. So I've set it at the same level as Kylian. He doesn't actually have this potential on Football Manager. I think he's in about the 140s, 150s, which is still pretty cool. But I want to see how far we can take him. He potentially could be the best player on the planet. And that would be really cool if we could make it happen. So guys, if this feels like the kind of content you're interested in, please drop a like on this video, subscribe to my channel, because I think what we're going to find out here could be quite interesting. So here's the plan. I won't actually be managing PSG on this save, but what I will be doing is keeping a real keen eye on how Ethan gets on. And I am giving myself the power to be able to move Ethan around to other clubs if I feel like it's going to develop his career further. Basically, I want Ethan to be playing regularly, playing well regularly, and also winning trophies. And if he's not, well, we've got some decisions to make. We could leave him at PSG. We could move him somewhere else where we think his career might develop a little bit further, a bit quicker. What I can't do is I cannot edit anything else about him. So I cannot edit his attributes. I cannot edit his value, his wage. I can't touch any of these things. Purely the club he plays for. So in the comments, no cheating now. Don't go to the end of the video and then start typing in. Don't do this. Okay, don't do that. At this point, pause the video, go to the comments. What do you think is going to happen to the career of Ethan Mbappe? Could he be better than Kylian? Who knows? We're about to find out. So we've made it to September 2023. The first season has begun. He's not in PSG's first team, but he has got 3 assists in 9 appearances for what I'm suggesting is the B team, or maybe in reserve matches or friendly matches. He has signed his new contract, which is really good news for him. Not sure if it's good news for us, though. He's on £8 a week now. He's locked in until 2026. So that's another 2 seasons plus the season that we're in. And his value has skyrocketed slightly. So that's a good thing. There's not a lot of changes to his attributes. However, his current ability is on the rise. He is now 117. So he is improving, which is always a good thing. I think the next thing for us to do would probably go to the end of the first season, see how he got on, and we'll check in on his current ability, and we'll see if it makes sense for us to move him clubs. Right, folks, we have some development. So we have reached the end of the first season. Ethan Mbappe has actually started a league game for PSG, only the one though, and has made 5 substitute appearances. So that's a really good thing. He's actually kind of broken into their team, but not really. We know he signed his new contract. His value now actually goes up to £90 million. And has he developed? Well, I think he has. He's up to 119, so he's not developing super quickly, but he is getting better. So we need to make some decisions on what we do next. So PSG, as expected, they did win the league. Well, they won the league by 27 clear points, only losing one game all year, and that was away to Nice. So I think if we're being realistic here, Ethan Mbappe won't be playing in the PSG first team for a while. So why don't we loan him? Because I'm thinking if we loan him out, maybe keep him in France, loan him out to a team that he might break into. And I feel like a whole season at the top level is really going to help him here. But the question is, where do we send him? Now, my initial thoughts here, it would be really cool if he played or got into a team that were actually in Europe. So I had a look at Strasbourg because they've made it into the UEFA Conference next season. And I've got the player's current ability here. We know that Ethan Mbappe is currently 119. So he'd be slotting in kind of down here. And I'm not sure, because these will be the players listed in terms of their current ability, I'm not sure he would actually break into that team. We need him to play first team football. And so I'm not sure a team like this would be the best idea. So if we go a little bit further down and try someone like an FC Metz, for example, 119s are around here. Would he be getting into their team? He's got a better chance of going to someone like Metz. So that could be an option. I'm also thinking, I mean, Toulouse are quite a big team. They've got pretty good facilities. We need a club that have good facilities. They've got some good players, though, so he'd be coming in a bit down here. So I've made my decision. FC Lorient, in terms of the league position, they came 12th last year, so they were comfortable in mid-table. Their facilities are pretty decent. They've got 3.5-star training, 3.5-star youth. I've had a look at some of their players. Ethan slots in around about here. He's got a good chance of breaking into the first team next year. Obviously, Lorient had some good loans last year. They will be leaving. So I'm thinking if he can play next year, that could be a really good start to kickstart his career properly. So this is where we're going to leave it from here. We're going to simulate season 2. Hope, fingers crossed, he actually gets in the team and it's not a waste. It's really crucial here that we don't waste a whole year of his development, because we don't want that to be shunted, because we want him to reach that potential. So, FC Lorient, let's see how it goes. So we've reached the end of season 2 and the end of Mbappe's loan spell at Lorient. We're going to catch up and see how he's got on. He is injured. Don't worry, though. Don't worry. He's out for a few days with concussion. He's fine. It's not an ACL. It's not a broken leg. Never fear. He's had a really up and down time. He got to Lorient. They put him straight into the under-18s, which did concern me massively. Didn't break into the Lorient team for a while. Concerning, alarm bells. However, near the end of the season, he did actually get into their team and he ended up starting 15 times for them. I think it was the last 15 games he actually started, which is pretty cool. Didn't score any goals, didn't play particularly well. Average rating of 6.6, which is underwhelming, you would say. And Lorient, well, they survived relegation just like skin of their teeth. Same amount of points. They won the playoff, meaning they get to survive. So he played in a it's safe to say, a struggling team. So he's ended up going back to PSG. You can see some of his attributes have started to rise slightly. If we check on his current ability, he's up to 128 now. So 128 out of 200 basically means could be breaking into, like, in English terms, a Premier League team, but not a superstar. Maybe like a bottom of the table type team. So what we do next is going to be quite interesting, because his loan spell, he did improve, not massively. I feel like we leave him at PSG for a year, and I don't think he's going to be, in their first team straight away. However, with PSG's amazing facilities, even without playing, he might develop quite well. I mean, you can't really see this, but underneath my face here, the game says the hot prospect is him. So actually, that's quite exciting. So I've decided I'm just going to leave him now. He's 18. He's going to stay at PSG, unless, of course, PSG move him on themselves, which, of course, could happen because I'm not in control of them. And then we'll see if he gets into the team. And then if not, we've got some decisions to make at the end of the next season, because then he'll be 19. He's going to be needing to play football at that point. So I bring you some good news and some bad news, mostly bad news, actually. Ethan Mbappe this year didn't really break into the PSG team at all, which is kind of what I feared would happen. He did make 3 substitute appearances, which is actually less than what he did in the PSG team in the first season when he was 16. Suggests to me that there's a decline there. Has he improved? This suggests to me that he might have done a little bit, but if we check in on his current ability, it's actually just the same as it was. So I feel like we've lost a whole year here in his development. He's still 128 out of 200, We needed him to push on, and he just hasn't. So we've got some decisions to make here. Do we just leave him and hope that he does break into the Paris team and that will be all great? Do we loan him out to somebody else in the hope that he has a year of first-team football? Or do we just transfer him elsewhere? If we do let him go, it'll need to be at a club that can A, afford to pay for him, so it'll have to be at least £33 million. It needs to be a club with good facilities, and it needs to be a club that he will actually break into the first team of, which is the tricky part. This was the league table. At the end of the third season, PSG again won the league because they just do every year. Montpellier and Brest got relegated. Lorient again just about survived relegation. They're always hovering above the drop zone there. Some interesting teams in Europe next year. Reims, Lille and Lens are all playing in the Europa League or Conference League. Lyon have just been dreadful. Missed out on Europe every single season. It would be good to keep him in France. He is French. I think he's well suited to the French division. But we need to think about a club that he would fit in well at and that would suit him. Now, for me, someone like Toulouse might be a good option because they have good facilities. So therefore, that's going to help his development. In terms of their players, these are ordered in terms of current ability. So he's about 128. So he'd be about here on the list. And in terms of centre midfielders, this guy has played for them this year, Paul Akuoku. He's been there on loan and he's started most of their games. He's a very similar player to Ethan Mbappe. He plays in the same positions. He's got similar attributes, or this guy's slightly older. He's been on loan from Lyon. So I'm thinking, if he leaves because he's only on loan, if Ethan Mbappe comes in, he could potentially fill that gap in their 11. Now, it's a risk, of course, because it's a big transfer for Toulouse. It's going to be a lot of money for them. If we take him to Toulouse and he doesn't play, this is all backfired, right? If we send him there and he plays and he develops and he becomes good, it's all paid off. So this is the decision now. Do I do it or do I send him somewhere else? I've made my decision. Ethan Mbappe, £35 million, didn't make it at PSG. Don't think he was ever going to make it. He is now a Toulouse footballer. Just under £40,000 a week. He signed a 5-year contract. I think this is a good move for him. He's got to break into the team in this first season. If he doesn't, it's gone wrong. So fingers crossed, when I speak to you next, it's the end of the season. He's played lots of games and there are lots of clubs interested in him. Let's see. Now we have some interesting developments. So Ethan Mbappe has actually played a full season for Toulouse here. Played pretty well. His attributes are actually increasing quite a lot here. He's increased his first touch, his passing, his tackling, his balance. They're all on the up. And we have lots of clubs interested in him now, including Juventus, Bayern Munich, Dortmund, Newcastle, Man City. It's getting very exciting. Now, there are some current bids on him. Lens want to loan him for a season, and Rennes have bid 16.5 million plus installments for his services. But I kind of want to see him go to a big club like Man City, so I'm not going to tamper here. We're just going to see what happens. So he's got his big move. He's ended up going to the Thun, Newcastle United, for £16 million. It looks a bit strange that Toulouse bought him for 35. Played quite well, and then he's gone for 16. But he's got his big move. Now, this is the danger. We need him to play first-team football. I'm more than happy he's gone to Newcastle, but he needs to be playing. His value has instantly shot up between 57 and 172 million pounds. He's on £70,000 a week. He plays for Newcastle. So let's see what happens. And season 5 has been very underwhelming, really. So Mbappe only started 3 Premier League games. He did come on 17 times, so he's used regularly as a sub, but not really as a starter yet. Attribute-wise, he hasn't really developed. His current ability is now 141 out of 197. So he is slowly getting better, but maybe not at the rate that we'd like. He is 21 years old now, and he does need to play football. So I'm now thinking, do we need to move him on loan somewhere a bit different where next year he's going to play, because we cannot afford any more wasted seasons here. So I'm thinking about a club where he'd probably start for. And I'm thinking like maybe a Brighton, a Villa, an Everton, a West Ham, someone of that ilk. And I've chosen Brighton. I feel like Brighton is the right kind of club for him at this point in his career. Brighton are known for like playing pretty good football. I think he might get into their team. They're playing a lot of like older midfielders, so I think he's got a chance of playing this year. They're paying half of his wages. So, yeah, I think this is a big season for Ethan. You need to step up, son, and actually become the footballer that we want you to be. And it seems to have gone a lot better for him at Brighton. 23 starts throughout the season, 2 goals, 6 assists. It's probably one of his best seasons so far, actually. I'm assuming what will happen now is he'll go back to Newcastle. And hopefully he'll get to play some football because his current ability is nearing 150 now. Now, 150 is a pretty decent Premier League player, so I'm not going to tamper. We'll leave him. I think he's going to go back to the Geordies, and hopefully, cross your fingers, chat. Hopefully he plays some football. The year is now 2030, and, well, I guess I've got some good news for you. Mbappe did play for Newcastle, but not a lot. Started 13 games, which was better than his first season. Came on 10 times. He's kind of in the conversation of being a Newcastle regular now. He's worth now up to £243 million, by the way, which is pretty hefty. And he has signed a new contract with the Toon. £145,000 a week. He's not yet in the France squad, but he has got 32 under 21 caps, which is pretty exceptional. In terms of his current ability, we're up to 150. So we are a decent Premier League player now. We just need to play minutes. So I'm not going to necessarily come back and tell you what's happening after the next season. I'm going to zoom on and I'll come back and tell you more when something really interesting has happened, whether that be in 2 years, 3 years. I need him to start playing regularly because he's not going to win a Ballon d'Or at this rate. We've made it to August 2034 and you can see that our guy's still playing in Newcastle. He's been there for quite a long time now. He's into his 6th season in the Toon. I think the main problem here is that Newcastle aren't winning anything. Ethan, on the other hand, I mean, he's fantastic. He's an unbelievable footballer. His current ability is now up to 171. So you're talking like Jude Bellingham in real life. He's that level. But Newcastle just don't win anything. I mean, in terms of the Premier League, they've never won the Premier League on this save so far. No Premier League wins. And I think that's part of the issue. Now, ignore Bournemouth being top. Like, we're only 2 games into the season. That doesn't count at all. Newcastle actually have only been in the top 4 a couple of times. They've never come higher than 4. So is this becoming a problem? I think it will be silly of me to manually move him right now, considering he is playing for quite a big team and he is actually playing lots of football. He is wanted by Bayern Munich right now, and there have been big clubs sniffing around him. But I'm just going to leave him. I'm going to bide my time. He's 27, so he's still got time to win trophies, to win a Ballon d'Or. I'm not going to panic right now. So our boy Ethan is now at the end of his 7th season at Newcastle. Look, he's had an okay career here. He's playing lots of matches. He did break his ankle last year, so didn't quite play as much as he did before. But his average ratings aren't fantastic. The thing is, he's playing, but he's just been a little bit disappointing. He's 29 years old now. He's got 29 caps for France, which is okay, I guess. He recently signed a new deal. He's on 250 grand a week. Look, everything's here. The package is here. But things aren't going spectacularly well. So I've made a decision. I'm going to force something to happen here, and I'm going to move him. Yes, the decision is I've moved him to Real Madrid. Look, I want him to win some things, all right? His career so far, nothing. He's won nothing. He's 29 now. We got to win something here, or this whole video is pointless, all right? So he plays for Real Madrid. Let's win trophies. Come on. Well, at this point, Mbappe's a little bit of a curse. We're in the year 2038. We're well into the future. Real Madrid, absolute powerhouses of European football. Did he make them better? Well, no. So this is the situation after him being at Madrid for 2 seasons. He's 31 years old now. He's got 49 caps for France. So his international career is going pretty well. He's he's probably maxed out his potential now. He's a really, really world-class player. He's played for Real Madrid for 2 years after his £100 million move. He's played almost every game for them, which is pretty solid. So he's really good. If I also show you some of the midfielders they've also got at the club. So Jude Bellingham is still here, 34 now, but I mean, the state of him. He's an absolute tank. And they also have this Italian new gen, Giacomo Bianchi. He is absolutely unreal. So that is their midfield 3. Surely they're winning everything, right? Surely. Well, no. Because they've just come 3rd in La Liga. which isn't ideal. And the season that he first went there last year, well, they bottled the league on the last day of the season. So he's still not won a title. Well, he must have won a Champions League, right? He must have done. Well, no, because they lost to Chelsea in the quarterfinals. And last year, they lost to Roma. So he's actually still not won anything. I say anything of note. He did win the Carabao Cup with Newcastle. I kind of missed that bit off the list. So I'm now going to whiz ahead to the end of his career. Let's just see. Look, he's got 3 years. No, maths, Mckins. He's got 2 years on his contract still. It's going to take him up to 33. I wonder what will happen to him next. We're going to go to the end of his career now and just see if he can actually win a league before he retires. Now, this was a twist that I wasn't expecting. Ethan Mbappe has become a manager. I actually quite like it, and he's not actually a bad manager. So then, in terms of his career, he did end up going back to PSG, which in a way is quite romantic. He wasn't really getting in the Real Madrid team anymore, so 28 million back to PSG, did play for them. But the question on all of your lips, I can tell, is did he win anything? Well, this is his final career. So it says here, let's read this together. Mbappe has a great record of 12 competition wins to his name. He won the French division with PSG. Okay. He won La Liga with Real Madrid once. Okay. He won the European International League. I think that's like the Nations League, but I could be wrong. If I'm wrong, tell me in the comments. He won that twice with France. He won the World Cup with France twice. Okay. He also won the Olympics. He won the Champions League once with PSG. That's pretty cool. He won the Super Cup. He won the Spanish Cup. He won the Spanish Super Cup. I don't know how that's different. Are they different things? And the Carabao Cup with Newcastle. So actually, not a bad career. To be fair, if you're a professional footballer and I tell you that you'll actually win the league in like 2 different countries and win the Champions League and win the World Cup twice, you'd definitely take it, wouldn't you? So now, has he had a better career than Kylian Mbappe? Well, let's find out. So, Kylian retired as a player at 36 years old. He ended his international career with 199 caps and 129 goals. That's like a staggering record. He did actually spend almost all of his career at PSG. 477 appearances, 326 goals. That's mental. And he ended his career with 1 season in Saudi Arabia. Do you know what? If you're Kylian Mbappe, why not? Go and get the pay packet and retire. 34 appearances for Al Hilal, 20 goals. That's still pretty good for a 35, 36-year-old player. Okay, what did Kylian Mbappe actually win? So, I mean, this is a bit of a joke. 44 competition wins throughout his career. He actually won the league with Monaco in 2017. Did he win the league with PSG every single season? That's crazy. He won the league with PSG like 12 years in a row. That's mental. He won the Nations League with France, what, 5 times? That's crazy. He won the World Club Cup. He won the Asian Champions League with Al Hilal. The World Cup 3 times. The Champions League twice. He's got the Super Cup there. He's got the French Cup 7 times. And he's also won the Euros there with France as well. Now, I'm going to be honest. I hoped that Ethan would perform a little bit better than he did. But if we're going to compare the two here, well, it's ridiculous. There is no comparison. So the question is Kylian Mbappe going to become the best player ever? Will he ever reach the heights of Messi and Ronaldo? Well, if this is his actual career when he retires, then he's pretty close. And as for Ethan, is he ever going to make it as a manager? I'll see if I can simulate a bit more, and I'll tell you in the comments if he goes anywhere good. So keep an eye out in the comments. And while you're there, leave me a comment yourself. Are you underwhelmed by Mbappe's career here? What did you expect to happen? Do you think I did anything wrong? Is it my fault? Come and tell me. So there we have it. Another YouTube video in the bag. Subscribe to my channel, like this video, and I will see you for some more very weird and wacky Football Manager content very soon.